All right, today's video is the fourth in a series of 4 routines that I use for my exercise program, which looks like that. We'll see how it goes. I got crazy. I watched these YouTube exercise videos, like everybody else. And I guess the common thought is that for cardio, which I do, normally I would run, jog slowly for about 2 miles. And then every morning I walk about a little over a mile, just more for mental exercise or relaxation and to get out of the house, get some fresh air. But apparently it's good for you. I do that every day that the weather allows. So then I heard that instead of jogging, which takes a long time, if you do sprints, it's better for you and you don't have to do as many. So this guy is saying, well, you should do 6 sprints with maybe a minute rest, I forgot what he said, between the 6 that you do, and you should sprint for 10 seconds. So I went to the tennis court and I warmed up, of course, and I went from one fence to the other, the lengthwise of the one tennis court, and I got ready and I ran real fast. I'm actually pretty fast, apparently. And so 10 seconds was about from one fence to the other. So I took a breather, went back and did it again. And I said, wow, this is pretty amazing that I've never really sprinted. I don't know if I've ever sprinted really, other than in the process of playing tennis, you sprint, but not quite like this. So like an idiot, I did it 6 times. And then I hit some balls against a wall, and I think I jogged around the courts one more time. And then I got in the car, and when I went to lift my leg to just get it away from the seat up to the firewall and the gas pedal, I could barely lift my legs. Oh my God. My thighs, my quads were so sore. It was absolutely incredible. Probably a lesson learned. Don't go full hog on something that you've never done before. This mostly focuses on other stuff. So with that said, I'm going to go do warm up and then I'll get back with you. So the first exercise I'm showing on the video is ab crunches with the ball, which is not the first exercise that I have listed on my list. I think that was a hamstring leg lift, but I like the ball crunches so much I just was motivated to do them. I do these instead of sit-ups, which years ago I did sit-ups, but the sit-ups really screwed with my lower back, and then I had to put my toes under something to steady me, and it ended up being more of a leg exercise than an ab exercise. There are plenty of good ab exercises besides sit-ups, a bicycle exercise, but I like the ball crunches. And then since I'm using the ball, I jump to the next exercise that requires the ball, which is the wall ball sit. When I first started exercising a little over 2 years ago, or really a long time ago, but 2 years ago, the trainer got me to do the wall sit without the ball, without the hands up. And then, after 30 seconds, I was saying, when is this going to be over? When is it going to be over? And of course, you get acclimated to it, and it's not that difficult. So you add the ball and you squeeze the ball, which is good for your abductors. And then if you put your hands up against the wall, that helps with your shoulder flexibility. So that's why I do that. Now to the hamstring leg lift, which I had written down as the first exercise. This one, with the weight I've got on there, which I don't really like changing, I can only do about, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these things, which is pretty much all you want to do. That's the leg muscle on the back of your leg that's getting hit by this. I think it's a good targeting exercise for that muscle. There's not too many more I know that are real specific for that muscle. And the last one or two become quite difficult. Of course, I make a note of that, of the 3 that I just did. Check for the next one. Oh boy. Planks. Planks are one of the most boring things you can do. It's an isometric exercise. It is a plank, so you want to keep everything tight. It's supposedly a core exercise, so you want to tighten your abs and your back and your glutes, your legs. You want to keep everything tight for, I only do these things for a minute, but there's a series of them. Of course, this is when you really wish you could put music on there. I do. When I exercise, I always have music on there so I can sort of listen to the music and let the time go by. Plus, I'm staring at the second hand of a clock on the wall behind the video recorder. The front plank, as I think I mentioned one time before, if you just sit there and do a plank, you really will be able to do that for many minutes. So what I've done to make it harder is to, again, tense all your muscles, tense your glutes, and then try to pull your toes toward your elbows. So it becomes not just a plank core exercise, but it's a real good ab exercise, so you can really feel it. Then, of course, you have to do the other side plank. The side plank for me originally was the hardest thing to do, and I think it was really my shoulders being weak. I mean, my body did shake a little bit, but now I can do the side plank for a minute without too much trouble. But any exercise that you have trouble doing is an exercise that you need doing. Should have fast forwarded here. Let's see, what's next? Oh, reverse plank. Let's go do that. Reverse plank is really more of a glute exercise than anything. You can really feel your glute muscles tensing up in this, and it's one way to target them. Obviously, it looks like my legs are doing something, but it's a hamstring glute exercise for the most part, and you want to concentrate on tensing those muscles, using those muscles. I do 2 variations of this, one with my legs apart, and then you'll see here in a second where I put my feet together and do the same thing. That sort of changes the target muscle. Still a glute exercise for the most part. Feels good too, I might mention. Because once you get to exercise and you get used to it, A lot of these feel good. Okay, so while I'm doing glute exercise, I've got a band around my ankles. And so I'm just lifting my leg, keep it stiff and lift it up. And it definitely will target your glute individually. So that's my right glute. And then, of course, I've got to switch over to the left one. It's important to do glute exercises because who doesn't like a nice butt? Really, if you don't target the glute muscles, especially when you get older, you're going to get a flat ass. It's not going to be a pretty sight. So while I have the band around my ankles, I switch over to another exercise that's a lot harder than it looks, which is the abductor exercise. I've got one of the lighter bands that I own on this thing. I might have to up that in the near future. The coolest thing about this exercise is when it's done and you take that band off, all of a sudden you just feel real light, like gravity has lessened and you're sort of floating. It's a really interesting feeling. Not really sure why that is, but it's very noticeable. Okay, so much for that. Oh, the deadlift. Well, the deadlift is the exercise for sure that I use the most weight on, probably usually like about 100 pounds. You want to do good form on this. You really need to get the bar over your feet. When you lift it up, you don't want to lean forward to try to lift that thing up or you'll hurt your back. The back needs to be in what they call a neutral. Right there, instead of your bending your back over curved, you try to keep it straight. So it's obviously good for your legs and your hips and your back. Lower back is the main thing. I was afraid to do this because I've had so much lower back problem over the years. But if you gradually build up to it, it's a good exercise. Squat is a good exercise. When I was in the gym, I did squats with a barbell weight on the back of my shoulders, which is fine if you can do it safely. I have no way of doing that safely at my house. So I take the Bruce Lee exercise routine. He did squats with no weight, just body weight squats, but he did a lot of them a lot of the time. So he did quantity over quality. But again, any of these exercises, the quality depends on your mind-body. You have to focus on what you're exercising. So that's the end of the main exercises that I do. I just threw this one in, sort of introducing my final video, which is about yoga. I'm no expert on yoga. I only do a few exercises that are considered yoga, and I'll explain that in the next episode. But somebody that I think has some credibility said that this particular yoga exercise you should do every day, especially as you get older. Apparently, if you're not in good shape, it's not easy to do it originally. With all the other exercises I do, this wasn't all that terribly difficult. So that's it for this video. Again, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or anything, let me know.